Let's talk budget travel. So everybody wants to fill up this little blue book on a budget. I hear you. Nobody likes the word budget more than me. But there are some reality checks that need to happen with the idea of what budget travel really is. Okay guys, here's the reality. The most important component of any trip is the flight. That is where you're going to get your biggest savings, biggest bang for your buck. And when it comes to flights, when it comes to the dirt cheap flights, those are flights that you gotta have the money right here, right now, and you gotta book it. You can't wait to call your friend to talk about it. You can't wait until you get your check on Friday. If you see this ticket for $3.99, $4.99, $5.99 today, you better book it right here today, because chances are it's going to be gone. I'll give you an example. There is something called fuel dump fares and mistake fares. This is where the airline somehow accidentally goes and puts $1,000 airfare for $2.99 or $3.99, and it's a mistake. Usually those are caught within a few hours. So if you see those flights, it's good to book it and think about it later, because you have 24 hours to cancel for a full refund in the United States. The next component of cheap travel or budget travel is accommodation. Most people who are saving a lot of money on travel with accommodation, they're not staying in hotels. They are either staying in hostels, they're going over on volunteer efforts where they're exchanging volunteerism for accommodation, or they are couch surfing, which is a service where you pick a random stranger and you stay on their couch. There are a lot of options out there to have low costs and some free accommodation. So that's a very important factor of budget travel that some of you, I think, are not aware of that is happening. The other component that you probably don't know the details about with the people that do budget or very cheap travel is they're not explaining to you how they're doing their transfers and how they're moving around. In a lot of instances, they're either taking buses place to place, or some people hitchhike, some people do a bus and a train and a flight, or these are people that are only traveling with a backpack, so they don't have any bags, so there are not any real fees associated with them jumping on a cheap flight. If they see a $20 flight, they can jump on it with no problems. But if you're like me and you actually travel with luggage, your $20 flight can quickly jump up to $60 or $70 because you've got to pay for that bag that you've got with you to get on the flight. Another thing I want to mention is airline miles or reward points. A lot of people are racking up these reward points and using these reward points to travel. I am personally somebody who uses reward points often. But unfortunately, there's more to that than just gaining reward points. And for those of us who have them, we generally spend a lot of money somewhere else to get these reward points. So ultimately, it's not really free or cheap travel. It's just that you've made your money work for you somewhere else and you're able to use it on travel. So as always, I do like to share a personal story as far as the topic that I'm shooting. So for budget travel for me, I do consider myself a budget traveler, but like I stated in previous videos, budget depends on who you are and what your budget is, because I definitely don't have the same budget that Oprah has, and I don't even have the same budget that Gail has. So yes, budget for me is totally different from what budget for Oprah or Gail would be. But in my instance, I am a bit OCD. So there are certain places that I'm just not going to stay. I'm not going to take the risk that the place is not clean and I'm going to have anxiety my whole stay because I'm not sure if the sheets were ever washed or something to that effect. As far as flights, I'm kind of picky on airlines. My favorite airlines are Emirates, Qatar Airways, American Airlines, United Airlines, Singapore Air. I generally try to stick with those airlines when I fly. So when it comes to fuel dumps and cheap fares, I usually don't get to jump on very many of those because it's not the airlines that I like. And two, I just don't keep up with it enough. Being able to catch those fares, you've pretty much got to have notifications on your phone and really be on top of what's going on in travel. And I just don't do that because, again, my OCD, I don't like notifications because notifications make me feel like something else is controlling my day instead of me controlling my day. So that's a little backstory on me and my idea of budget travel. And even though I do budget travel, I don't budget travel. I have spent a lot of money on travel, which is ultimately how I've accumulated a lot of reward points. So some of my more expensive stays, I use reward points, and I use my money to pay for some of the cheaper stays, and I, intertwine the two things to make my travel work for my budget. I hope this video has been helpful with giving you a little bit of insight into budget/cheap travel. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave your comments below the video or contact me through the contact form on my website.